And I don't, no, Lindsay's on this committee. I'm
Yes.
correct, sorry.
Okay. This is kind of we went back to back, so she might have not realized that it's tonight. So whatever, we'll just get going. Okay, so we narrowed it down to 3 last time.
I don't know where you.
And then we'll just kind of go through and refine those 3 that we have narrowed it down to and put some parameters in what we're thinking. I read through the ones that were out here earlier. I see some were added. It looks like Amory was added.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Well, it didn't copy in like I wanted it to.
Oh, okay.
I actually tried
was gonna say,
I actually tried to delete it.
Okay.
I must have forgot.
I'm not going to pull that up.
Yeah, don't.
So let's start with the first one, which was the contribution into an HRA. And I'm just going to create a new document. I apologize. I did not get this. Okay, so we have come up with, a $500 figure, $500. The board would match up to $500 into a 403B for staff. And did you want to say anything before we get into it? Okay. As I mentioned a little bit earlier, this would be prorated based off of an FTE too. So say you're a half-time person, then it's a half of that $500. In order to get the full $500, it would be a 1.0 FTE. So it's just fluctuated and prorated based off the FTE, that would be stated in whatever documentation, the handbook that we're going to put this in. I'm just wondering, I'm trying to recall what else we talked about in terms of this. Were there any other questions about the 403B?
We did, so we have some questions, and I'm pretty sure we do. There's no
Yes.
initial contribution, it's all just at the end of the year, right?
Well, the employee has to make the contribution, and
That's what I meant.
okay, sorry, yes.
So all of it, there's no initial from the.
No, there is no, it would have to be that, the employee makes that contribution, the district identifies it, then the district makes that contribution at the end of the year.
And then we did say, despite the vesting schedule, those that are retiring before that 5 years would be not included in the vesting schedule.
Right. Wait, say that one more time.
Those retiring in less than 5 years would be able to still keep
Yes,
this.
yes.
It's those that are leaving the district besides retiring. in
Correct.
less
If you
than
choose
5
to
years.
separate from the district before that 5-year investment, then the money reverts back to the district. Any other questions around this one? Dr. Aslan, anything to add? Anybody?
We talked about this increasing based on years of experience, but that would be something revisited in 2 years.
Yep, I think we're gonna go with the initial amount right now, and then I think in another cycle of compensation task force, we would look at a tiered benefit of it increasing over 0 to 5, 11 to 15, however that works. I think right now this is what we can commit to, and we'll see how it goes and see where we are at the state level in terms of finances.
Yeah, keeping it sustainable.
Okay. Second one was increase professional PD, we're gonna just go that way. PD day, increase PD day pay. So I looked at the ones that were dropped out there. I think there were two. Shell Lake is $22.50 an hour, $180 a day. Is that how everybody's reading that? That's how I read that.
Is that an option we can talk about, hourly instead of just like day and half day?
I think this is gonna be half day or full day, but cause we're gonna go down to hours, banking those hours for personal days. I think in this particular instance, we try to align it with how, if you are gone for a PD day and it is during the school year, that, we'd have a sub in and we pay the subs by the half day or the full day.
Oh.
Now, obviously over the summer, that's a little bit different, but again, manageable for the staff here. When we're talking hourly, then it's, how's that gonna get managed? There's a lot more to it. I don't know if you wanna add.
I don't know if it's a good match to have salaried employees that you're also
Also that.
trying to do
Hourly
as
wages
well.
for.
Okay.
So that was, who else did I get? There was a Hayward one in here, right? Hayward, 175 per day, but it's capped at 3 days. I don't know what this is, but I think I don't know what talent development is.
No, that's a new one on me.
Maybe that was just an extra, I don't know.
Talent development sounds very, I don't know, glamorous.
It's like
Must have been
bands
something
and
built into their
performance and-
compensation scale.
I'm guessing it's
'cause
just a
I see
fancy
it's
way
tied
of,
to a
yeah,
potential for a
credits.
raise, so,
Those are like,
yeah.
that was done in Chautauqua, was a proposal to have points for certain things you can do that support the district or support your teaching practices, so like the book study, working a sporting event, so that would be like you're supervising the basketball game, that's worth 2 points on this point scale,
my
and you would get so much or whatever. That was a proposal, but
Yeah.
for that reason that you're shaking your head, it was
Can't
not.
imagine.
I'd rather pay you to come and
It
work a
was
basketball
hours.
game.
It'd
But
be a complicated
Should
one. to
have-
get
Yeah.
going.
did they not go? They would.
Chautauqua did hourly, so anything that went beyond your contracted time was paid at an hourly rate, or anything that was outside of your contracted days was paid at an hourly rate.
Got it.
But
So
that's where that point scale comes from.
we have 180, we have 175.
What do you think we can handle?
I think
I
based
also
on
have, Superior was in that too for the hourly at like, I was just doing that, was it 23.9 or something like that, at like 190. Basically theirs ended up at 190.
190.
But they do hourly too.
They did hourly as well, yeah.
I believe with everything else,
bigger.
particularly that big piece of the 403B, we can go up to 150. That's what we can do. That's a $50 increase from where we are right now. Doesn't, obviously, we don't have a lot of information here. I did not go, I will be fully honest with you, I did not go look at anybody else's. So I don't know where we sit with our peers.
But we wouldn't look to cap it
No.
like
No.
Hayward did.
Right, there's
No
no
cap.
cap. There's no cap on it, so we anticipate that we will probably have more PD days in the future since we are,
Yeah, I
transitioning to a
just-
PLC
I just think
school.
that's
So-
probably, I think that's a given, that we'll have more of that, so. Again, back on that notion of something that's sustainable and the fact that, have people back at the same table in 2 years looking at some similar stuff.
Can everybody get behind that?
Certainly.
$50 extra
We
a
did
day?
have, one member bring up curriculum planning, if that will be,
That's already in the handbook, curriculum planning. To my knowledge, you get paid, let's just go look really quick.
Is that per course?
Yeah.
Yeah, you get like $900 per course that,
Let's consult the handbook.
let's consult.
I thought they were talking about developing curriculum for their classroom.
Writing new course curriculum, 700, that's,
700 per
Per
course.
course, so
Yeah.
in
That's
elementary,
9, 12 though, only grades 9.
Oh, yeah.
yeah, I was gonna say,
So-
what does course
I don't think
Yeah.
mean for elementary?
Yeah, yeah, cause we have like certain like
I don't
unit
think that
plan
applies
type
to
thing you gotta lay
Where would,
out
in
and,
what instance
know.
would you be writing a new course curriculum at the
We have to
elementary?
write our ELA curriculum every year.
There's not a resource purchase.
I believe that,
Yeah, you know, I have to tell you, so the curriculum that we're doing district curriculum right now. We've done ELA a couple years ago, math a year ago, probably social studies next year. So, and that we've been doing during the school year
And during the day too,
and
'cause we
during
had
the
subs.
day, yeah. So, tell me more, ma'am, I'm
Well,
not
in
quite following.
elementary, the things that we did during the day was like unwrapping standards, prioritizing standards, things like that. Third grade, and I believe other grades have had to meet outside school hours to address creating their curriculum for ELA, like the resources, the pacing, the
Okay,
actually implementation of it, because we don't have like a bought
yeah,
thing, and so it's just been a concern of,
we're gonna get at that in the next one,
so.
or in the next item. In the-
Last year we used snow
Compensation.
days to be for them.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't think that's something we're gonna take on right now.
well, and I think let's have an there was some compensation given, I'm starting to recall what you're talking about, and I believe that there was, I remember nobody's on that grade level that's in here. I would have to do some research on it, but we can deal with that.
Last
What?
year it was a snow day, we used a snow day equivalent to make it, so it counted as like a work day kind of, but
Okay.
the years prior there was no pay for it.
So if
while
we're
I
gonna,
was here.
if we're gonna have people, first of all, the principal's gotta say, hey, you gotta work on this, and we're gonna call people in off of the regular calendar, and we'll pay that $150 a day.
Yeah,
Can we-
that would be
Can we
the,
work with that for now?
If the
Yeah.
principal says that you have to develop the
so say
You
you're,
got it.
say you're
Yep.
coming in over the summer.
Yep.
You're
Your
gonna take a
principal
Tuesday.
says, hey, you gotta work on a pacing guide at your grade level, or something like that, you gotta work up some formative assessments, the principal will tell you, and then we'll pay the $150 a day.
Fair enough,
Fair?
I'm sure that people would be okay with that.
better than what you got now.
Yes,
Yeah.
that was the question, so,
Yeah.
so.
For now,
Well,
I think
and-
we'll
and-
address it more,
Yeah,
more in depth.
Down the line,
Ye-
yeah.
Yeah, with,
I just kinda think where we're at right now with trying to stand things up, I just don't think because we're in so many different places in the
Right.
district on this, it's really hard to say, let's include this in our district plan. But I bet we will be there before too long, so that might be one for the next one.
okay, earning personal days. Personal. Okay, this is the one that's gonna probably have we gotta put the most thought into is in terms of how you're gonna shape this. So this one is gonna have to be capped at 3 days. We can allow three days per person to be earned.
So that's on top of the 3 that you get, right?
Right.
3
So-
additionals.
Yep.
So then, would one, if you earned 3 and you get 3, would one turn into a sick day since you only get 5?
So, yep, so anything that we're gonna stick with that same kind of,
Structure.
yes, so that any days that, you can always be capped, we're gonna actually raise the cap to 6. So now you're capped at 5, we're gonna raise the cap to 6, so you can at any one time carry over 6, anything else would be converted to sick leave. But we have to have some serious conversations around, because if we, how do we talk about this?
Well,
If we
so,
raise this to
couple
6,
things, first of all, we gotta have some agreement on how this works. You know, it can't just be, I'm gonna rack up a bunch of time and get these days, it's gotta be some shape around it, and I'd hope that, that'll come here. And then the other piece is, back to that ability to handle it operationally. So, here's a scenario Shannon and I were kicking around. So, it'd be really hard to have somebody be gone for 2 weeks.
and that could potentially happen with this, you could have 10 days
It'd be pretty tough. Look at what's going on out in your buildings right now. Have people gone a handful of days and stuff. So, how do we treat people fairly and create that opportunity to earn those days, but do it in a way that doesn't tip over the operation back in our schools, cause we still gotta serve kids.
No, you could have 9. You could have 10. Sorry. Cause you could rolled 6. You get your 3. And so if you rolled 6 from your previous year, you get 3 new in your next year, and then you have the chance to earn 3 through the terms of.
Yeah.
So you really could, there could be
now I'm
there could be a potential. Yeah, there could be the
Oh.
potential that you would have 10 days in 1 year where you could be gone for 2 full weeks, and is that?
We
Wait,
just need
I'm
to
sorry.
cap it then, what you
I
take.
think I need a little more clarity. I thought that we currently, when in terms of like, so I didn't use any of my personal days this year. I thought only 2 of those rolled over because I could only have 5.
In total, right.
But you just
They're
said
upping it.
now you can roll 3, so that's only 6.
You can have 6 in total at any one time. Right now you can have 5 in
Right.
total, but
Okay.
now you can have 6 in
Right.
total. Right. Then, so if you came into the year, say you start next year, you have 6 personal days. You're gonna get 3 more on July 1st. So you'd have 9.
But I thought that wouldn't, those,
That's
that
not how it
roll over,
works
that's not how.
You can start this year with 5. Say you started this year with 5.
But that's including the 3 that we get for this year.
Yeah,
And so at the end of the year, if you use up
Okay, so
3,
you have
then
3.
you only have 2.
It still mathematically would work out. So, okay, so let's say you start the year with 3. You get 3 more,
right.
because that's what we give you as a district, so that's 6, right? You have the chance to earn 3. Okay, so it's 9 in total.
Yep.
You could have
And we
9.
talked about sometimes people take an unpaid day.
And then they
something
could
like
tack
that
an
to
unpaid
kinda-
day on the
So
end of
when-
it if you wanted.
Okay.
When you earn that time, it's not gonna carry over into the following, because right now with the tech one, we would get that extra day next year. But in this case, earning personal days would happen like immediately?
They would have
You'd get them as
you
you,
earn 'em.
you'd get them as you earned them,
Yep.
yeah,
Okay.
as they
So then
were,
you could take.
as
Yeah,
they were
you could,
authenticated,
so say
yeah.
you had a trip planned in the spring and you wanted to make sure you earned all that time so that you
Mhm.
could take it all, you know,
Oh,
5 days of
sure.
personal leave. You could put all your time in up front and earn those days and then be able to take it in the spring if you wanted.
Took me a while to
Yeah.
process it
Yeah.
also.
Yeah.
It's a
Right.
very new
Yep.
concept.
Yes.
Right,
Yeah.
people still kinda,
Like,
kinda
how do you get
grinding
over
on this one.
5?
Yeah.
So you get 3 a year right now by contract,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
And we're saying you could earn 3 more during a given school year,
Mhm.
right?
Yes.
And we're
then you
saying,
carry
them all.
3 from
now
the
you can
last year.
carry
3.
6 forward.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you could
Not-
potentially.
No, you can carry 3, the total, right?
We had 6 up there.
But 6
Right
is
now,
the
at any
cap for how
time,
many
you can
could
have, you can carry 3 forward, so that you could enter the year, you could, you could start the year with 6 total, rather than 5. Right now, you can start the year with 5. Now you could start with 6.
But that's if you're carrying them from last year.
You'd have to carry, right,
Yes.
but when we're talking in scenarios of managing it, then you'd have to realize that then you could earn 3 more through this, that'd be 9, and you could tack an unpaid day on the end of it, and then you'd have 2 full weeks of somebody being gone. That's the shape of the conversation of how are we going, we have to have some context around that to say, is that what's best for students, is to have somebody gone for 2 weeks on personal leave?
Could it be that when you earn them, they carry to the next like semester or like
Well, I think
quarter?
I think it's fine. I think it just has to be, it has to be managed at the principal level to say, I understand there's some once in a lifetime opportunities out there if you're, maybe you get to go to Europe for 2 weeks or something like that. Yeah, I get that.
And don't we currently have some kind of policy where you have to get approval to have more
There's
than 3 in a
pre-approval.
row?
There's pre-approval,
Okay.
there's approvals in place, but we're pretty liberal with the approvals.
Okay.
And we wanna help people manage
Yep.
their expectations, we wanna be upfront, so if somebody were to see this and say, great, I'm gonna rack up 2 weeks worth and take that European tour that I've been wanting to take or something, we wanna be upfront with what this looks like going forward, so, it's about shaping those expectations for people.
Well, let's maybe, go ahead.
Just from this discussion, it sounds like what the idea is that staff could say, I'm going to do this, this, and this, rather than the principal telling you to do this, this, and this. Because if you were waiting for the principal to tell you, I want you guys to meet as a team after school and work on your pacing guide, I want you to work on this tech project for a presentation on PD day, like giving directives and he's telling you to do it versus you as a staff member deciding, these are some professional development opportunities or things I need to do to better my classroom.
Oh, good segue. This is where we're going. So this is what we're gonna talk about. What is going to be applicable to earn this time to create these personal days? What items, from your guys' perspective, would be items that, you would be doing to earn the hours to accumulate the personal days? Is that where you're going with that?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I may be in a more unique situation in SPED just because I kind of have two supervisors. But I feel like there's been some things that I've recommended to either or both of my supervisors that like, this needs some work in my particular classroom. Can I have some time to work on this? This needs some work. Any of those, this needs some work and it's going to better my classroom, and they agree and sign off on that. Would that fall into that category?
Would you call it curriculum, or would
So,
you call
like,
it
supervise,
pre-approved,
supervisor approved,
Right, yeah.
supervisor approved, classroom, or what would you call that? What would you, I don't wanna call it curriculum because it's not necessarily.
Can you just call it
Task.
classroom contribution or betterment or, I don't
Supervisor
know, because it
approved.
could be lots of different things. Some of the examples of that are, I would like to create a handbook of sorts and procedures for my
Yep.
classroom, or a handbook for para staff, or, create a new resource for students who we don't yet have a resource for, so some
about
of.
projects.
Yeah.
Supervisor
pro-
approved project.
Is
Projects, I
projects
think, course,
accurate?
yeah.
I
'Cause it
mean, could
really
other
could be
people
lots of
see
different
that in their work where scenarios, yeah, okay.
So this would include such things as pacing guide or curriculum development?
Right,
too?
and I think there's a lot of research out there to support people in any profession seeking out what they personally need and some of those like personal growth projects. And you could say, you know, I'm poor at classroom management, or I'm struggling here and I want to do this, this and this to get better
Yep.
in that area.
Mhm.
And I think this would fit
Yep.
perfectly for staff to better themselves in a unique way.
And it's broad enough that you could use it for those pacing guides, curriculum development. If you chose to do it that way, you could do it this way, or you could do it through PD, getting that compensated $150 a day. And I think it gives you a choice. If you'd rather be paid, or if you'd rather put in some time going towards a personal day.
And maybe something tangible, so if Dr. Aslan came to me and said, hey, Mark, what did you do? I could say, well, here, it's all right here, you know?
Yeah.
And it,
We'll work
Yeah.
with, we'll have to have some way that we document and authenticate
Yeah.
this type of stuff.
Yeah.
But, okay, so one that I guess I'd bring up for discussion was around this table the last time that we met. And that was that, people feeling like they get tasked with meetings beyond what their duty day is on a frequent basis. So,
meetings beyond duty day? Go ahead.
well, yeah, and I mean, yeah, so, is this a way to get at that concern that people have brought forward,
Yeah, I think so.
okay?
I mean, I don't feel like team meetings, like if your grade level or department decides to meet because you just
Yeah.
want to talk or something.
Yeah.
If you have a project, that would fall under the project, but if you're just meeting like we would normally do, it might not fall. But if it's a PLC sanctioned meeting, maybe IEP based.
A required meeting of some
Yeah.
sort, could we call it a required meeting where,
Or
Or
where
like get
you're
murky
being told,
'cause
hey,
some-
we gotta have you here for this, and,
Does this get murky, cause sometimes IEP meetings are during the day?
Right, it would only
Then
be
it would
after
yep,
Yeah.
yep.
meetings beyond duty day.
So we can't double dip, or
Can't double
during
dip.
the day, we can't do that,
Nope.
but again,
'Cause
people,
ideally-
people brought forward to this that they're feeling like, hey, this happens fairly frequently, can we do something with it?
Could we,
Go ahead.
sorry, could we throw into here, cause I think I brought it up before, like our math and reading nights.
Yeah,
or
that's where I
thing-
was going, my
Oh,
next one.
okay.
Yeah, yep,
Like, cause I
so,
know for us, that would be a big one.
yep, so then I was thinking,
Like
So what if
building
we didn't have the
sanctioned
bullets under
activities,
that
events.
one,
I'm
Shannon?
just,
What-
these are for my notes,
Okay,
so
alright.
that I can create,
So school events,
yeah,
Just a point of concern as something, so, somebody who might have many PLC or IEP meetings being forced to have to do them during their prep every day and therefore losing their prep every day and then not being compensated, it seems a bit unfair in the other direction.
don't we already have a provision to pay people for their prep if they lose
Yeah, if it gets, there are times when, okay, well, I think, I know a lot of people believe that prep periods are, I'm not saying this because I don't believe in them, because I obviously do, but I think there's a misconception that we are required to give staff prep, and actually we're not required to give staff prep. There's not a statute or a law that requires us to do that. It's not that I don't want people to believe that I don't believe in that. I'm just saying, like, that's, just to preface that, like, that is I think a misconception. But, if it becomes something where you're saying you're giving up your prep for the entire year or the entire semester because you're doing PLC work or you're doing this or you're doing that, then we have a compensation for that, and an overload is what we call it. If you continue to lose your prep on a planned basis, if your supervisor came to you and said, you guys need to do PLC work and you're gonna do it the entire semester and you're gonna have to give up your prep, then you're on an overload. But if it's
I
sporadic,
don't think we know about this.
But we don't give up our, but it's, you're talking, I would have no prep every
ever,
day.
right.
No, we don't do that. I mean,
It's
There
we
are a
only
lot
have
of people
one
that
prep a
probably-
week that we're required.
So if you gave up your
I know
prep
I've had
every,
some-
so you're saying that you believe that you have times in your buildings when there are staff that give
I'm
up their
going
prep?
off of other people's
Right.
conversations too. There
That's what I'm asking, based off those conversations that they give up
they're
their
losing
prep.
a lot of their preps, and then therefore they have what they were going to do during prep. They now have to do after school hours, which don't get paid.
But a lot compared to all the time, those are different. What's the context around that? Is a lot 1 day a week? Is a lot 5 days 1 week,
3 to 4.
every week?
I think they gotta be talking with their principal, that's a scheduling thing.
Yeah, that's a
I just-
scheduling issue.
I don't see this being a catch-all for that.
I meant this is a concern at the elementary school that I've heard from numerous people, and so I didn't know about this overlay thing, and so
Well,
maybe
it's
this is
very
something-
rare that it would happen that you would have an overload, so let me preface that with that, and it's in the handbook. And, again, it goes back to if you lose your prep, if it were saying to you, I'm asking you to give up your prep for a semester because
Teach another class or
that's a
something.
better example, teach another class, then you would be on an overload. But giving up your prep because of a PLC, is that what you're saying, is PLC?
various meetings
Right.
eventually adding up. So it wouldn't be like every
That's
day
it.
for PLC, it's like I'm having IEP meetings or things revolved around IEP meetings once a week, and then I have PLC once a week, and then child study once a week, and then
And that's a
that
scheduling.
when they all
That's
get
a
together.
scheduling.
Yeah, that's a scheduling thing that I don't think would be,
This is gonna be beyond the duty day, let's focus on that, beyond the duty day. So before 7:30? 7:45?
7:30 to 3:30.
Okay, 7:30 to 3:30. You guys are all different, I don't, right?
Or seven
Elementary.
forty,
every
7:45.
building's had
Yeah.
different start
Yeah,
times.
but you get what I mean,
Yeah.
Well,
so,
outside the duty.
Yeah.
So can I piggyback on the IEP piece? So when I'm conducting an IEP, I'm required to have one regular ed teacher there for the meeting, that's the minimum requirement. So now let's say I'm having an IEP after school and now 3 teachers wanna attend. Or it could be during the day and 3 teachers attend. I mean, are we gonna we're just gonna say, if it's outside of your day, then if all 4 attend, I'm not saying that they would attend just because they get paid, or I think they may I think they might say, well, instead of giving up my prep, I would rather attend it outside the duty day, and then I would attend,
That's kind
because
of
I
what was
don't
getting
have
at.
to give up my prep.
Yeah.
So, then if I have 4 core teachers who want to attend,
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna cap something like
Okay,
that, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
no, I don't think we're gonna cap it, I think, we'll have to definitely, well, it goes to these school events beyond the duty day, all of a sudden we're gonna cap those, because we're not gonna say, now at the Christmas concert, you're gonna get 25 people that wanna come and work it, like, cause you gotta work, you wanna earn your hours, and you're, getting close, and all of a sudden you have 25 people, no, we're not gonna do that.
and I think if I could have more of the core teachers around the table, that would be a better meeting.
Yep,
Yeah.
I think in that
When
case,
we're
yes.
circling around and back
So
to
this
the
might be a really good incentive to get more people to be involved
Yes.
that way, yeah.
Yeah.
So.
So-
We'll have that issue maybe at the elementary, that's more of a middle high school thing, but a good point to bring up, because we typically just pick the classroom teacher in that
Oh,
case.
right.
So one thing that we need to talk about though is that,
This makes
so
sense.
let's say that, you guys on 3:45?
Yep.
How do we split this in, when you and I were talking
So,
about this?
we gotta come to some agreement, because, hey, we're professionals and sometimes we gotta stay a little bit extra to get the job done. But on a standing basis, that's not a fair ask to do. So what might be a control measure? That, could we say, hey, if you're staying, I don't know, I'm gonna throw this one out. You know, if you're required to stay more than a half an hour after your duty time, you'll log these hours. Or if you have to stay 15 minutes after your duty day, then you can start to log these hours. And again, I'm just throwing these figures out to start the conversation. But what is a fair measure that we could apply district-wide on this?
Remember, it has to be managed by somebody, so somebody's gonna have to manage these increments and track them, and it's not going to be me. It's probably going to be your building principal.
I would say more than an hour, or like an hour minimum to count, right?
So,
I just feel like there's so many people that come to school half hour early and stay half hour late, just.
Well, I
Just
don't, but it can't just be
because.
anything.
right, it would
can't
have to be
like, I was
structured.
at school at 7 o'clock, I'm not gonna ask for compensation for that.
That's what,
But like, if
but
I
off
have
of
a
this
meeting at
list.
7 o'clock.
Right,
Yeah.
off of this list, I would say
you start tracking it like
half.
over an hour long.
No, I think we could go down to the half hour increments.
Yeah, we're asking, what's fair?
I think people would appreciate the half hour option. 'Cause
Half hour increments, once you kick in at 30 minutes, then it starts, you kick in to be tracking.
Sure.
I'm asking, I'm not
Let's
saying.
repeat that again, sorry.
They would be in half hour increments, so anything up to a half hour is a kind of a give and take on the professional level, saying that maybe you gotta take off a little bit early one day, but as soon as you get to that 30 minutes and then go beyond that, then you're tracking it and counting it towards earning those personal days.
If you're participating in these.
Correct, yeah.
So if your scheduled day is 3:30, you can't track anything until after 4 o'clock.
I'm asking.
We're asking, what's fair?
Wait,
Yep.
I don't know, I feel like if it falls within one of these categories after 3:30, we just start tracking. Other things, I think we all just stay, like we come at 7 o'clock, get whatever we have to do to get ready and take care of our day. If I have to stay till 5 and log
if
behavior
it's
incidences.
self-incentive.
How
Right,
about
but if it falls
approaching
within
it,
a category,
how about approaching it from this way? Are we gonna track every, this is a better thing. So you're there at 3:30, you have an IEP meeting. I know this is not, it gets done at 3:40. I mean, I know that doesn't ever happen, but for the sake of conversation, let's
Yeah.
just say, started at 3:30, gets done at 3:40. Maybe this is a better way to approach it. We're gonna start tracking in 10, that's what I'm asking.
no.
What is our
But-
tracking increment going to be? I would say half hour tracking increments, so
I think
3:30 to 4, you know, and
Yeah.
obviously that is going to be on the staff member to, the integrity of the staff member to say, you know, if it was 3 to 3:50, well, yeah, of course you're gonna round up to 4, but if it was 3 to 3:45, you know, that's on the staff member too. The likelihood of it happening only in, you know, 3 to 3:40, 3 to 4:45, probably slim.
I'm just curious how this plays in for like family reading night or bingo when it's 5 to 7, let's
Yep.
say. So then is it just like a 2-hour time chunk, or do you take a half an hour?
Nope, I would
It
say,
would
it was
just be-
5 to 7, cause you're there from 5 to 7.
So then
But if
it'd
you
be
had
like
only
a
worked
2
it
hours.
10 minutes,
Like if
Then-
something
Well, I'm
happened.
not worried about that. Like if I'm committed to work there, I'm gonna be
Yeah.
there. I just meant it didn't start right after my school day, so I was just confused
No,
by
no, no,
that.
no. In those cases, you know, we would put some structure. Let's say the elementary Christmas concert goes back or stays at night, and we would have a report time and an end time.
Okay.
Estimated. You know, you get here at 5.
That'd
you're
be
gonna
easier.
you're gonna leave at 9.
Yep.
We would have allot 4 hours
Okay.
earned.
like
And
waiting
chances
after
are the
school
building
until it
principal will
starts
have a-
doesn't count.
Yeah, well,
Get there
yeah.
at 3:30. I'm not gonna come over here.
3:31.
Yeah, if we could put some
So maybe there
wording
was.
that says anything after, if it falls within this list, after your contracted time and lasts longer than 30 minutes, the duration of the event could be counted.
That's what we're saying. We're saying how, I guess that a better way to say that is, what are our counting increments going to be? And the example I gave, are we gonna, I don't feel it's conducive to going down, okay, we've been here 10 minutes, I'm gonna start tracking these at 10-minute levels.
I think a half hour makes sense, but then I'm wondering, so if you stayed for 45 minutes, does that round up to an hour?
No, I think when you go beyond an hour, you can track, yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
I think you
yeah,
just have
it's
to
like-
use your professional
judgment,
Judgment, right?
yeah,
I
I
mean-
mean, you're using your is it really 45 minutes, but then you probably
I mean,
cleaned
I'm
up your
okay with
stuff.
45 minutes, I just wanted to.
I don't-
clarity.
Yeah, I think we're talking about some different things.
Yeah.
What we're gonna need from this group to move this conversation forward is, when does the meter start ticking?
Yeah.
Where we're counting this time? You know, is it, if your duty day ends at 3:30, is it 3:31? Or is it, hey, there's always some give and take that comes with this, but if you're here 15 minutes after your time, well, then you start counting. I'm asking.
I don't, I mean, I guess I just feel, like, so obviously my area is, you know, special ed with the IEP meetings. I feel at 3:45, that meeting time should count. I really feel like we put in a lot of extra time, whether it's we come before school, we give up our lunch, we use our prep, we give a lot of time. I think that's a structured meeting time, cause I'm not gonna wait 15 minutes to, you know, I mean, so something that could go through a person's head. Well, I'm gonna start my meeting at 4, even though parents are here and ready to go. I could get a team together 15 minutes early. And then you just say, when the meeting begins, when the meeting ends. Not gathering my stuff to get there, not going back to my room. I would say, you know, meeting time to meeting time.
And a lot of times those meetings too are right when the bell rings, like right after school gets out. They
Here's the
start.
thing, we're not going to spell out we're not going to list out it's gonna have to be professional judgment, and it is gonna have to be, you know, I understand that
Yeah, it's a good point. This, the
We're not
handbook
going
could
to-
be as thick as the
Right.
New York phone book,
Right.
trying to cover every scenario,
So-
It has to be.
certainly there's going to be conversations, as it is with every new thing we put in the handbook. We're going to encounter instances where we have to talk about them and decide from an
Yep.
administrative perspective.
Make some calls on
Yeah.
it, you know,
But I think if we leave it as this and say, after your duty day, you start tracking your time.
I don't think it would be abused, is what I'm saying.
No, I don't
If we're put
anticipate
in
it.
that way,
Yeah,
I think we usually land on the professional side and put in a lot of time anyway. So if it was, here's my duty, or here, I'm gonna go to this meeting today, and then you feel like, oh, that's kinda nice, I get a little extra for participating. Without, you know, did the meeting start 5 minutes late, did it end 5 minutes early? I think people would do enough rounding to be fair.
And we said that it is okay for staff to help at other buildings, so should we need,
well, we talked about that a little bit further. And do you wanna elaborate?
I'm not a big fan, I'm gonna tell you that. I think that the discussion that has come forward is, hey, we're doing stuff in our building, and we're working extra time and not getting anything for it, but
I think
that's
if we,
my opinion, so what are some other thoughts out there?
yeah, I think if we start to see where we're lacking coverage in other buildings for things, maybe we can have those conversations, but really if you think back on the times that you're out of your building in another building doing something, can you think of, like,
no, but I didn't
Yeah.
know,
I think
didn't know
that,
if
I
there
think
was
for
a way-
now, it's gonna be it would be applicable to your
So
building,
the Christmas concert takes place in this building.
right, but it's for your grade
Right.
levels, yeah.
Yeah.
So like,
Yeah.
that's a chunk of time and
Right,
so
But it's
Right,
for the
so-
elementary
so
school.
it's
it would be
for-
fine,
it's
Yeah.
for your school though, it's
Yeah.
not like, hey,
not where it's placed.
I'm at
This
the,
year was
hey,
our
it's the
building.
high school concert, I'm
Yeah.
gonna go work with that,
Wasn't
you're not
asked.
assigned there, yeah.
I don't know anybody, I
That's
don't
probably
know.
not gonna
I
work.
won't be
Yeah.
looking for more things to do.
That's
I
what we
was thinking,
That's
I'm
what we
good.
said too, like, what are the odds
got
that you're
enough.
gonna
I only
go,
want those personal days.
I'm gonna go down to
I
the.
don't.
I'm fine with that. I didn't even know them before it. That's-
Yeah.
Or it also could become an issue, like what if one of the schools doesn't have enough events to offer? So like, for example, maybe the high school doesn't have, like, it's all sport events, so it's a whole separate thing, and so they don't, and then,
High school's got all kinds of.
I just was giving an example, if it's an equity thing, like, is your school offering as much as the other buildings, so you don't have as many opportunities to,
I think it goes back to that conversation that we were having over here, there's lots of times where you guys are giving more time beyond even 3 days, I don't think you're gonna have a hard time coming up.
No.
Mr. Walker? Kyle, would you?
At the high school?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. So here's the other part of somebody working another building's event. It'll be your principal that'll have to sign off on
Yeah.
it. That puts that principal in a pretty tough spot if it's an event that they got nothing to do with, so. So if we can agree that it's connected to things that are going on in the building where your primary assignment is that fair enough? Right?
And I do like the fact that, you know, piece in there that, you know, if a building is short or needs supervision, that they just reach out beyond.
And then then we would,
Then we'll work,
Yep.
that'd be one of those cases that
Yeah.
you described that are kind of a unusual one that it doesn't happen very often.
Okay.
And we'll make a call on that then, yeah.
Could we add to the meetings beyond duty day, could we add trainings, that now it's an option for, a supervisor to say, like, we want this department or these people to come in for a training, we're gonna make this part of your hours, as long as you have a supervisor sign off on it.
So, for instance, like CPI,
CPI,
That's-
CPR?
CPI, crisis prevention.
Nonviolent crisis.
Oh, nonviolent, I've never heard just the abbreviated. When I hear CPI, I hear kid supervised index and the amount of money we're gonna get increased each year. We'll just leave it broad-based training, how about that? Yeah,
So what's
cause those are pretty large, sorry.
CPR, then
The-
what?
CPR, yep. And this is kind of going hand in hand. We've recently just had CPR training is not required. You'd think it would be, but it's not required for our staff. And we're having a hard time getting staff in and actually doing the training, so this would help.
Yeah,
You know, if you're gonna get- yeah,
if they
if you're
get
gonna
hours
get-
for it.
You're gonna get your hours for it, yep. So,
That was brought up a lot in our building, actually, the CPR training.
yeah, it's
No one
not,
wants
you'd
to do
think
it
it would
'cause
be
there's-
required, but
Right.
it's
You
not
don't get
required.
anything for it.
Yep.
Yeah.
But it's a good couple hours that you put in for the
Yeah.
training, so
is.
that's nice, that really is.
Might have more signups now.
What about a staff member wanting to swap? So say they would rather than $150, they'd rather get a personal
Oh, good
day.
question.
Can they say, I'm going to, you get sent to a training over the summer, or you get a curriculum day over the summer
Yep.
that you're supposed to do
Yep.
something, can you say, for these 8 hours,
Yes.
I'd rather have a personal
Yes.
day than
And if you're smart, you would do that for the first three because they're worth more than that $150. We had that conversation last week.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Sorry.
So it would be, and I was just,
But you
for
could-
anybody else that was here, we just revisit, that we did have that conversation to say that you could swap these, yep.
So
So-
then we better add something to our second item about the 150.
That could be,
day,
yep,
right?
could be, or to be used for
Or hours used
towards,
towards
yep.
those additional personal days.
But only 3 per year.
Right, so it would be capped at 3. So if you had 3 professional development days over the summer and you wanted to swap them, then you've used your 3, so then during the school year, if you get asked to attend family reading and math night, then you're,
Then you're just there to help.
yep, then you're
Yep.
there.
You're a volunteer.
Or hours used towards personal day. Are there any, am I missing other examples of after school? Christmas concerts, family reading and math nights, spring fling. You guys had a wellness night, didn't you? Lindsay?
Middle school did, yeah.
We did.
Yep, we did.
At the high school, play supervision?
Sure.
So we discussed like the wellness night a little bit, cause you do have a wellness committee as well, so I don't know if it's,
Wellness committee's paid, so
oh, okay.
Yep.
Alright.
Yep,
What
can't double
about-
dip.
can't double dip.
Yeah,
So it'd be anybody who volunteered outside of that?
Yep.
Correct. yeah.
What about like with forensics? Like
Yeah, I'm thinking about all the
They
club
ask for
stuff
help.
at the.
No, if you're paid as a coach, I'm sorry, if they ask
like
for
a-
help,
Yeah, I think like the forensic,
Yeah.
I think last year when they had
Yeah.
like the home
Oh, yeah,
conference, they
so-
asked for teacher help.
what would we call those? Maybe like,
Sport extracurricular.
I don't wanna say sport because you're paid for your sport.
On-call supervision
On
or,
call,
or
how about that?
outside the, what is it,
There's middle
outside the
school art
handbook
shows?
supervision, because the
Spring fling,
handbook
I think.
has,
Oh, is that what it's
if
called? Okay.
you
Sorry,
supervise a
what they
sporting
asked.
event, it's in the handbook.
That is not compensated. How about that?
Yeah.
On-call supervision that is not compensated.
Nice.
So curriculum and pacing development would be part of the PLC?
Supervisor approved project.
Oh, sorry,
Yep.
sorry, thank you.
I don't know if that's right.
PTA events?
That's a choice because PTA is not a sanctioned by the district. We don't ask you guys to attend those.
Should we say that explicitly, like, I mean, I don't know.
No, cause PTA isn't, we don't, we love the PTA, we do, we love the PTA. Not that I can, but we don't ask that you guys attend those PTA events, so that would be, I don't think we need to, cause they're not associated with our
The
handbook.
only one was
It's not
the
directly a
dance
school activity.
that I
Yeah.
can think
so
of that they've
connected
done.
to the
It's on the
school.
carnival.
The carnival,
The
that's what.
carnival,
True, but that's not up there, is it? No.
But
so,
that's
but I
something
think people are gonna assume that it would count.
But don't parents volunteer to work there?
I mean, every teacher, I think, in the
Once,
school
I
volunteers.
think when those emails get sent out, that they're looking for volunteers, this is a PTA sanctioned event, so therefore it does not fall under this
I
category.
think it needs to be said, that's my point, if we're
But
not
we're-
going to
but we're-
compensate it for it, so.
But now we're going down that road of what are we going to put in here, what are we not going to put in here, and we're not going to put everything in here that is compensated and not compensated, and that is not a school, this is going in the school handbook, and that is not a school, sanctioned group. It's not a school group that falls under any compensation within the district or anything like that. They need to manage that on their own, and so that is a good point. Whoever is on that PTA and says, you know, we are looking for staff volunteers, it would be on them to say, please note that this is for PTA and not for school.
I agree.
Maybe like on that last bullet, you just say for school sanctioned events only.
On-call supervision, that is, what you're talking about, the one where
Yeah, that is not compensated and then,
for school,
Yeah. Good.
there we go, like that.
yeah,
Alright.
cause then they would,
Yeah, I would,
PTA
I would
events
think
are
that would,
also
like some of the
something
clubs,
that
you know, that we don't get paid would fall.
Well,
I don't even know who all there is,
So
but
that
I
would be
think
something
there's
to
at
bring back
least
to
3 or
PTA
4.
that they need to
They
take
need
care
to
of.
make sure they understand
Yep,
this.
that's on
If they're
them.
volunteers or
Yep.
whether
I
they
agree
take
with
everybody to
that.
Tony's Pizza afterwards or whatever, but yeah, that should be, you know.
I think they try some.
That looked like a
CPR.
pretty fair set of measures to take forward with this.
definitely.
What about a training you seek out to do on a non-contracted day, you would need your supervisors.
If it's not something that we're asking you to do in terms of, okay, wait, finish your thought,
If it-
I'm sorry.
It wouldn't be under PD day, because that has to be directed by your supervisor,
Correct.
you need to do this.
Yep.
But for 3 supervisor approved projects, you say, I am lacking in this area and I want to go to this conference, it falls over Thanksgiving, it's in the summer, it's not on a
see what
contracted
you're
day. Can I go and use it as a, use those hours as a personal day, and your supervisor could say, yes, I feel like this is important for you and I will sign off on that, or no, this isn't a priority for our district right now and it doesn't fall within our mission and vision and I'm not going to sign off on that. If you choose to go, it's on
their
you.
own.
Well, wouldn't the school be paying for the conference? Like if it was like a conference that you were going to?
But I'm saying they could be paying for the conference, but it could be outside of, that conference could
But
be
on your
during the
time.
summer or on a non-contracted day. If it falls during the school year, you're still essentially paid for your day and the conference is paid for. I'm asking if the conference is outside of the contracted day.
Yeah, I think just kinda how you describe that, Missy, yeah, your supervisor's gotta say
Yeah.
yes or no.
So it would fall under training,
Yeah.
but that would be approved.
And
You can
you
seek
know,
them
we'll have-
out, but it still has to be supervisor approved.
Yeah, and if this is passed by the school board, we'll have some train up for
For
the
the,
administrators,
yeah,
and
but
we'll have to come up with a way where we track this and all that.
do you want me to put project/trainings? Would that help you? Supervisor/project/trainings?
Some of those things only fall during certain times and you can't
Yeah.
help that they fall on a non-contracted day, so it couldn't be used on.
But it goes back to what you had said too about, you know, self-improvement and wanting to improve, that maybe it's something that we just aren't gonna, you know, we haven't found we don't have the time for it within our PD, and so you've sought something out, you wanna go to it, and would that be
But
applicable?
having
Right.
some guidelines and borders in place so that
Yep.
people aren't just going to anything willy-nilly, saying like, no, you don't really need to go to that stamp's still there, I guess,
Yeah,
but
so the supervisor approved part of it then would be
So
applicable.
it does, but you brought up something that last year when we were like making up our snow days, we weren't allowed to do the work on spring break. because that was days we were paid, like days paid off or something like that. So would that mean that the PD days, these increased PD days, is really only the summer
Well, we wouldn't, I wouldn't,
or a Saturday?
I believe that I wouldn't ever, so, you know, you guys have Thanksgiving break, and I would hope that the administrators wouldn't plan a PD day. Okay, PD days aren't ever planned over spring break, or,
Well, I was thinking of her example, the
That's for the other.
I felt that we were told
I
that you
think
can't
that's back
double
to
dip.
one of those cases where we gotta make a judgment call on it.
yeah, those are a case-by-case basis,
I
but
thought
we
it was
would
a
never,
double dipping, that's what I thought I understood
we
from
would
last
never
year. That's what
plan
I
a-
asked.
we would never plan PD over a spring break or a, yeah.
But you're talking like, so there's a conference I wanna attend, and it occurs during our spring break would be a scenario, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, so,
Again, I think those are just.
Or
well,
this, even our PD days, it has to be outside of contract time, these personal days that we earn has to be
They do.
outside of contract time.
They are.
yeah, they do.
So if it, is it double dipping, doing it during a spring break or winter break?
I don't think that I'm following what you're saying, because we don't plan PD during spring break, or,
If you go to one, so it's not a
I'm-
district
yeah.
one, but you go to
The self-sought out things.
again, I don't think we can answer, I don't have an answer for you right now, because I don't.
I think it'll be super unique,
Yeah, I think it-
even though it happened once to me, even though it happened once to me that my conference was over Thanksgiving break. There's also like the paid holidays versus non-staff
Right.
days. If it fell, like, there's not going to be a conference on a paid holiday day. But if it fell within one of those blackout days versus a non-student, non-staff day, that
Right.
probably isn't an issue.
Yeah, I think that's such a rare thing that would happen, that, again, it would go back to we talk about those on a case-by-case basis.
And
If,
we'll have something in it that has gotta be arranged a certain amount of
Time
time in
ahead.
advance, so we could
Have
sort
those
out
conversations.
issues like that if they came up.
well, I'm just thinking, I can speak for my team and another team. If we can get paid for or if it's personal days, earned personal days, some people might decide to seek out like spring break, let's meet on the spring break. One day on spring break, develop our curriculum, earn a personal day. But last year when we were doing that for snow days, we were told we weren't allowed, that was double dipping. So that's why I'm asking, like,
So now you're talking about something else, because you were just talking about going to PD, but now you're talking
No, I
about
was talking
supervisor
about all of
projects and
these.
trainings. You're talking about all of these now.
the third one, where we're talking about supervised approved projects or trainings. A school event wouldn't be planned, I imagine, or meetings, but the supervised event where you are seeking out curriculum training or like meeting with your team, PLC, and you decide you're like, hey, we're all free on the Friday of spring break, let's meet the whole day, earn 8 hours, we'll get a personal day later. It's
answer
clarity because we were told it was double dipping before.
I don't,
I don't have an answer.
right, I don't have an answer, and I think we're getting too far in the rabbit hole right now, and we can,
So do we feel strongly enough that this ought to make the list of
Yeah.
handbook things to go forward?
What's up
Knowing
there
that
now?
we may have some
Refining to do.
murky pieces, like,
you're never gonna
like
define
this,
everything.
this one?
Yes, what's
Yeah,
up
I mean,
there
you
now?
know, we won't have the 100% solution. And I would say, again, we'll have something that'll say, hey, this has gotta be arranged a certain amount of time out, so those kinds of things can be covered down on. But given those really rare and unusual occurrences, or given that, is there enough meat on the bones here to go forward with this where you think this could be implemented as a district piece in the handbook?
So we would go forward with all three of these.
Do we agree on earned and 30-minute increments?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what we're saying, the 403B contribution, the PD day increase to $150 for a day, or hours go towards personal day, which is number 3, personal days earning up to 3 additional a year, where we just have been talking about this for the last half hour or so, right?
Yep.
You like these 3?
Yeah.
Yep.
And for number 2, those personal days could be earned in half-day increments. Correct.
So it's half day or full day.
Just making sure.
Looks good.
Yeah, that's really
I think there's enough meat there.
good. Yeah, I think it
All
looks
right.
good. Mhm.
Yeah, well, thanks for your work on that one, that's something new and different, so, yeah.
Okay, so we have one more meeting
That's elections, right?
on the 26th of March. So at that time, I will have the,
March 11th.
You mean the eleventh, right?
that's what I meant, March 11th.
I was like, what? I missed something.
It's the 26th today.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is. March 11th.
Okay.
And at that time, I will have solidified verbiage on what we would then add, or we would ask, take to the board as our ask. And then if we can all agree on that, we're done.
Good work. And just want you to know, the handbook committee's working parallel to this right now. They too, really doing a good job on this, so I think we're gonna have some really good things for the board to consider for additions to the 2020-2021 handbook, so looking good.
Shannon used the last meeting and then finalized language to be taken to the school board.
I know we said we might have another one in March maybe, but I think we can get this done. Unless you guys don't think that, I mean, it's just cleaning up some of this language and Dave and I going over it one more time.
Yeah, we'll draft something up, get it to you to look at,
Yep.
we can,
So watch the Google Drive, and then after that, yeah, we're done.
yeah,
Okay.
We might ask that you, we have a small representation of staff at that board meeting, so that if there are questions that come up, the board can ask you guys questions on how we arrived at this stuff.
that'd be in May in all likelihood, wouldn't it?
April. May.
Well, when we have the next meeting, we'll figure out what board meeting we're gonna